Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the Frontier Tech series, hosted by the Central Insights Unit of GSMA Mobile for Development. This is a fireside chat with experts from the mobile industry on the opportunity to leverage frontier technologies for sustainable development. And today we have with us Sadi Yamin, who's the group head of analytics at Axiata Group. And for this conversation, we will discuss how Axiata is using AI, mobile big data, and IoT for climate action, focusing in particular on one example from Indonesia, where the mobile operator has deployed a solution for flood detection in a country that is highly vulnerable to climate risks. So Sadi, welcome. And before talking about this project, I wanted to share to start from Axiata's digital transformation journey. Your vision is to become the next generation digital champion by 2024, and you are explicit about the concept of Axiata being a digital telco. So as a global audience, and today we have operators and tech companies mostly in low and middle income countries with us, we want to learn about your digital transformation journey. Can you take us through the key steps in this journey?
Thank you, Daniel. And first of all, thanks for having me in this fireside chat. It's been a privilege and honor to be invited by GSMA in one of their programs. So talking about the digital journey of Axiata, definitely our strategy and vision is to become the next generation digital champion, so that not only we remain relevant in the life of the consumer, but also we can give consumers a much better experience, and also we can ensure the interest of the consumer as well as our shareholders. Now, this digital transformation journey, we are basically focusing around 5 key core areas, starting with organization and culture. It is also important to have the right infrastructure and platform, and then backed by the internal re-engineered processes. Also, in this transformation, we need to have external interfaces to collaborate with the third-party software developers and other organizations. And last but not least, products and services. Eventually, to create an impact both for the company as well as I said at the beginning, to ensure a better consumer experience for our large base of consumer. Now, we have been making this journey for the last couple of years, and we have achieved few significant milestones also. We have been able to create a state-of-the-art architecture for our entire digital stack, and that's what we call digital telco enabler. We are also working with open digital architecture. In fact, we have been given the accolade as one of the top 3 globally known telco who have started journey around this open digital architecture. So this has been in the platform side. We have been working very closely while upskilling our employees so that they can actually take the best benefit out of this digital transformation while working with the agile mindset at the core. We have been also collaborating with the small businesses and software developers by giving them the access of our resources through the API journey. We have been focusing on creating very relevant products and services through this digitalization journey. And last but not least, all we are trying to do, we are focusing on creating impact through our digitization journey. So it's been quite a thrilling journey over the years, while having some significant milestones, but the journey is never stopped. We are still continuing in that journey to ensure that we become the next generation digital champion. Thank you.
And Sadi, you mentioned some of the enabling factors already, particularly the internal factors within your organizations that are helping you achieving this concept of digital telco. You mentioned organizational capacity. There is also the ability of an organization to think long-term and strategically. People often talk as well about the C-level buy-in, so having that kind of visibility and buy-in at the highest level within a mobile operator. But also, of course, there are the external factors. So the policy environment, when we talk about artificial intelligence, is there an AI strategy that is helping you in achieving this vision? digital skills, the overall tech innovation, entrepreneurship, and investment environment in the countries where you operate. I wanted to ask you, perhaps if you can comment on some of these enabling factors beyond your internal organization that are helping you or not, maybe, to achieve this concept of digital telco.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. It's an excellent question. See, here the main fundamental thing is to create an ecosystem as a digital champion. And we believe as a private entity that the public sector also has a critical role to play in building that ecosystem and eventually an enabling environment to encourage the innovation and tech entrepreneurship. So, for example, we have been closely working with the government in policy making. The AI strategy and policy is one of the things that we have been working on. We have been also working on upskilling the digital skills, not only for our own workforce, but also partnering with other companies to help building the talents, the right talent with the right skill in those countries. And most importantly, in our AI strategy, we have been focusing on delivering the benefit of AI in a more responsible way. So I'll be talking about responsible AI on a later part. But the key idea here is while building this ecosystem, there is a urge and there's a necessity to work together with the public sector so that the solutions and benefit we are building, it is totally contextual with the situation of the market. It addresses the need of the people. And in doing so, we will be fostering the innovation and also building the talents both within the company and also for the country itself, so that the entire ecosystem can function in a much more comprehensive way to get the benefit out of this digital ecosystem.
Fantastic. Sadi, let's move on to the core of our discussion today, which is about the solution that you have, in particular around flood detection. And it's supporting the SDGs, it's supporting sustainable development, and it's showing how AI and other technologies, mobile big data, IoT, can support society. You know, it's a product, it's a service, but also delivers positive benefits to society. Of course, AI is enhancing for you as a mobile operator internal operations, is helping with improving decision making, operational efficiency, is also delivering better customer experience, but it can also help building great products and services and support society, in this case climate adaptation. So with my team in the GSMA Mobile for Development last year, we looked at this solution in Indonesia by Excel Axiata. And we are very curious to hear it from you. How did you decide to venture into this initiative? And also, can you talk about some of the partnerships that you built to create this solution?
No, thank you, Daniel. I mean, yes, we have been very committed in contributing to the society also. And as you know, that flooding is a regular problem across many parts of Indonesia, especially the capital city, Jakarta, is subjected to severe floods from time to time, which usually causes a loss of life and significant damage to public and commercial infrastructure. So working with Jakarta local government, our company there, Excel Axiata, we have been implementing Jakarta Smart City for flood detection. The whole idea is to use technology by providing the sensor solution for flooding, including data logging, real-time events, connectivity, and smart camera. And we are also working together with the Jakarta local government team to build the AI use cases to support specifically early flood detection with real-time early warning alarm. Now, we believe that this will have a massive impact in saving precious human life and financial losses. And most importantly, what as a company we think is that the benefit of AI can only be leveraged when we will be having this collaboration with the public sector while solving real problems that people are facing and eventually contributing to a better experience, to a better life that the consumers are having. So in summary, yes, this is one of the examples that we have been working on, and it's been a fascinating example. We are continuously working on that solution. And in future, we will be also focusing on working on this type of solution where we can actually foster and effective private and public partnership.
How are you thinking to scale up this solution, maybe bringing it to other markets? And how can you provide it in a sustainable, in an economically viable way as well? What are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, so as you know that Axiata is operating in multiple countries in Asia. So in some of our other operating countries, we do have the similar kind of a problem, which we are calling this flood thing. And in multiple markets, we are trying to share the best practices, our learning from this Excel Axiata's journey of solving the flood problem. For a country like Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, where Axiata also has an operation. So the fundamental idea is to share the best practices, which we are doing as a part of our collaborative best practice sharing group, sharing those learning, build an ecosystem through which we can actually deliver such the solution of those problems to solve the similar kind of issues that countries are facing. The overall idea is to make it quite sustainable and viable, to scale it up so that eventually we can see a considerable significant benefit coming out of those solutions. And in doing so, I think it's extremely important that we work with the third party and third sector actors also, for example, development agencies and NGOs, and also with the government to eventually create that ecosystem to develop the solution.
Fantastic. Thank you. Before we talked about briefly, we mentioned the concept of ethical AI, ethical approaches to AI. We know, of course, that artificial intelligence is an increasingly essential element of the infrastructure on which our societies are built. And it is very much in the public sphere, in the public opinion and debate now, right? The discussion around ethical AI. So we know that AI needs to be fair, open, transparent, and explainable as well, right? To users and to those who are benefiting from AI. So I wanted to ask you, particularly thinking about this solution that addressed climate action in Indonesia, how do you ensure that this solution is, as well as others perhaps that are supporting the SDGs, that these kind of solutions are designed in a human-centric way and also deployed in a responsible way?
Thank you, Daniel. It's an extremely important question in front of us, that with the emergence of AI, how we are executing this entire thing in a more responsible way. Because, these are still early technologies with some limitations also. For example, one quick limitation I can share with you, the lack of truth function. We know there are a lot of talk about ChatGPT and other generative AI that are emerging. But because of lack of truth function, these models can sometimes give us an answer and they are not sure. They don't know that this can be a wrong answer. So this is a very simple example of how this limitation can affect us. So in that context, what we are also trying to do is, while improving and advancing our AI capability, we are also running a focus program around responsible AI and AI governance. Now, internally within Axiata, we have released the first version of the document, which we are calling AI governance, where we have categorically talked about specific need and control points that are required in this AI journey to ensure that this journey we are executing in a responsible way. Not only that, we are also working with global organizations, for example, with GSMA also, in building the policies around this responsible AI thing. So the first version of the document is already out there. We have been working with GSMA and some other operators in a collaborative way to ensure that we can also learn from each other to have a very comprehensive governance document, which will help us to set up the right control in order to execute this responsible AI. And last but not least, Daniel, as you know, it's very important also to partner with the government so that the national AI policy and also addresses the need for responsible AI. Because at the end of the day, whatever we are doing has to be sustainable. And because these are quite new technology, the control measure and the governance model will be extremely important to make this AI journey sustainable. So our focus has always been to work internally to proactively start this governance stream, as well as collaborating with other global companies and bodies to ensure that we also bring the outside in perspective to help building this responsible AI policy and strategy.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. Governance is crucial, and your approach is very inspiring, I think, as well, no, for others, other mobile operators that are looking to do the same. And I think in general, looking at the work that you do with Axiata, I think you're quite far ahead, no, in your journey in digital transformation.
We're still making the journey. I won't say quite far, but yeah, we are making the journey. We are having a humble journey. Let's see. Hopefully we'll do better.
Okay, no, that's great. So I wanted to ask you, Sadi, maybe as to close our discussion, based on your experience, what would be your piece of advice to other mobile operators, no, who are maybe in an earlier stage of this journey to digital transformation? In particular, when it comes to leverage frontier technologies such as AI, big data analytics for sustainable development. This is, I think, very important because in our audience, we will have many mobile operators and tech companies as well from low and middle income countries that are looking at examples and maybe markets that are a little bit more advanced, such as the markets that you have in your footprint. Any word of advice or recommendation that comes to mind?
I would say an experience sharing, of course, not an advice, just an experience sharing. That, see, I mean, the way AI is, advancing, it is actually leaving us no choice but to take it as a no regret move, because a lot of the companies are thinking whether we should start AI journey or not, or should we wait for the right time? Will it take a lot of investment, and all these questions are coming. So I guess few of the companies are still in the phase of go, no go kind of a situation, or at least move slow kind of a thing. But as I said, the technology emergence is going so fast, it is actually leaving no option for us but to have a no regret move. And in that, once companies decide to start their journey, it's very important to first understand that, okay, we are creating it not because the technology is there, but to create impact. So that impact orientation, solving real consumer problem, ensuring shareholder return, creating more and more, capabilities to solve real use cases that will not only contribute in the top line and bottom line, but also will help the company to have a sustainable return over the period of time. So that impact orientation is very important. And then comes all those, aspects like people, process, organization, platform, culture, which will fall in line anyway once the vision and strategy is there. So, and last but not least, it will not give us return over the night. There has to be an element of patience in this journey. We can start small, seeing the result, fueling the next phase of execution. That's how this entire thing can go on. So that has been our learning also.
Yeah. So you mentioned commercial patience in the road to sustainability, to economically viable services, and also starting from a solution, not starting from a technology, but from use cases and problems that you're looking to address with the technology. Okay. Thank you, Sadi, for being with us today. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Daniela. Thank you.
And with this, we conclude our episode of the Frontier Tech series hosted by the Central Insights Unit of GSMA Mobile for Development. Thank you to our audience for watching us, and please look out for more episodes that will be coming soon. Thank you.